This is what I want you to do. Figure out which environmental factors might increase plant growth, survival, and reproduction in each habitat, and which factors might inhibit them. So look at Minnesota, look at North Carolina, and figure out, okay, here's the habitat features we identified before. Here's the differences. Which one of these would help plant growth? Which one of these would hurt plant growth in each environment? Okay, that's what fitness is. It's to describe the growth, the survival, and the reproduction of the organism. So here's the table again. Look at it and decide which ones would help or hurt different plant growth in different areas.
Yeah, that's us. Well, can I go back to the question again?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, when it comes to like increased plant growth survival, probably it's gonna be in Minnesota because it's like winter. So there's like, I mean, no, that's not winter. I mean, like there's like a long winter and like short summer. Usually, like animals and like other organisms, like moths, they hibernate. So that means they don't really go and like eat leaves. And like in North Carolina, well, there's like probably like long summer, like that. So like there's like more moths that they can eat plants. And then because it's cold in Minnesota, that means they produce more cyanide than they do in North Carolina.
Okay, so you're saying that there would be less predation, less herbivory in Minnesota than North Carolina. Agreed? Yeah. Let's see, you also said that there would be more cyanide in Minnesota than there would be in North Carolina. Agreed? No? Okay, what's the other? You don't have to keep yelling it's wrong.
He's wrong too.
That's okay. So let's talk about that. Why wouldn't there, some of you disagree. Why do you disagree?
The herbivore thing, you see.
What?
It doesn't need to produce cyanide in Minnesota because it doesn't have that herbivore influence variable.
Okay, so maybe if there are less herbivores, then there would be less need to protect yourself from herbivores, which means you wouldn't produce cyanide. Now, have we had anything so far that tells us where they're producing cyanide? Are they producing cyanide in Minnesota and in North Carolina? Do we know anything about that yet? No. Okay, well, hang on.
Well, what about the, we just talked about the freezing temperatures and how it makes within the plant to expand. So if there's longer winters in Minnesota, then the freezing temperature would obviously make those plants expand, and they could probably kill themselves because they're overproducing, or they're producing cyanide because of the contact of CO2.
Okay, another good point. If it is long winters and there's freezing cold temperatures, much more than there are in North Carolina, then you probably wouldn't want to have poison stored up in your cells because some of them may burst over the winter. Yes?
Yeah, just talk about energy. Like it takes more energy to make cyanide, the cyanide poison. So I believe that the sunlight is plays an important role in making energy. Like there's more sunlight in North Carolina than Minnesota, so I believe there's more poison in North Carolina.
Okay, excellent. So your hypothesis is now, hang on, if it's going to take energy and they're getting more sun to make energy to photosynthesize in North Carolina, you're thinking you expect to see more cyanide producing or more white striped variants in North Carolina than in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay. Johanne, arriba.
Just, I don't even know if to counter on that, but like, wouldn't that go against like the plant actually needing to evolve because of the different habitat?
What do you mean?
Like, it produces cyanide. I'm just thinking of the whole warning theory that it produces together with the herbivores. Like it in my mind, it had to evolve and make the cyanide to protect itself from the more herbivores. If it's in Minnesota and it's a cold climate, it didn't need to evolve as such. Maybe it needed to evolve in a different way to keep up with the colder climate, but not necessarily to produce the white cloth that it has.
Okay, so this whole problem is about natural selection and adaptation. And Johanna has just brought up a very good point. What adaptations would you need to develop if you lived in a climate that was warmer and had many more predators versus an area that was colder and had less predators or herbivores? What adaptations would be selected for to increase your fitness, which is
You're gonna be more protective in a place.
Your
where there's
growth,
nature.
your survival, and your reproduction. So nature selects for different adaptations in different environments. So think about what Ioanni just said, and let's move on a little bit. Okay. So this is the answer to the different things that would, the different aspects of the habitat that would affect fitness. In Minnesota, you have a short growing season. That means the plant must flower very quickly. If the plant cannot get enough resources to flower before winter, it will not be able to reproduce that year. So it has to happen fast. Many days below freezing during the winter means that the plant's cell will freeze above the ground and they're dormant below the ground, so it can't grow and reproduce during that time. That affects fitness, obviously. And then lower precipitation, which is rain, may mean slower growth. And fewer herbivores, like snails and slugs, means less damage to plants and therefore increased growth. North Carolina is almost the opposite. We have a longer growing season. That means the plant can grow and reproduce for most of the year. Warmer temperatures and greater precipitation would also contribute to greater growth and reproduction. And then larger populations and greater activity of herbivores would be detrimental to growth and reproduction.